Well, thank you, and Secretary Perry, I have to say how much I really enjoyed the day that we spent together visiting the two national labs that, one of which I worked at for many years, another one which I currently represent. And, I just want to say that your enthusiasm for the fundamental science really shone through on that visit. The Department of Energy has done well with, technical wizards running it, and also with people with more political backgrounds who really understand and appreciate what it does. And I just want to say how much, I appreciate that, as well as, of course, your specific enthusiasms for the upgrades at Argonne and at Fermilab, which have already been mentioned here. Also, when I look over, the subject of this and the budget, we'd had some sort of off-the-record discussions there. And you mentioned in your opening remarks the return on investment, which I think is the right phrase for this. And so when you look at programs like the ERE investments, where third-party independent estimates have said that between the investments between 1976 and 2008 of about $15 billion generated economic benefits to the United States of about $388 billion. And that's a return on investment of 24 to 1, an enormous number, and you'd be hard-pressed to find any industrial sector with a comparable return on investment. Yep. And, you definitely get that. On the other hand, if you look at this, at the budget proposal, you're going to, there are things like the Loan Program Office of the Advanced Tech Vehicle Manufacturing Program. These are things that have turned a profit for the taxpayer in the sense of returned money to the taxpayer. So technically the return on investment there is more than infinite. And yet when you see these things proposed to be zeroed out, how do you react in the internal debates on that, and how do you go forward when you, I'm confident, advocate for this sort of program and then see the final proposal being cut?
Mr. Foster, as you said, you and I have had some relatively lengthy conversations about this specific area of the budget. As I try to remind people that, again, I really respect this process. I grew up in it, having been an appropriator, having been an agency head, having been the chief executive of a state that was fairly successful. We actually created a program back in Texas called the Emerging Technology Fund that we oversaw, and I argued vehemently to some of my own colleagues on my political party that didn't think government needed to be picking winners and losers, and I shared with them that we pick winners and losers every day.
Yeah. I really appreciate, you actually get this issue in depth, and I just really appreciate that. So keep fighting, and I wish you better luck in future debates here. Now, to change the subject tightly, your predecessor, one of the really great things he did with the scientific expertise of the National Lab was to really engage that expertise in the Iran nuclear negotiations, that he was providing real-time input to the negotiating team and to those of our allies on the detailed technical questions that are an essential part of this. So could you describe the extent to which that technical and scientific expertise at the national labs, both the science labs and the weapons labs, have been engaged in the latest strategic decisions by the White House?
Yeah, and it's a lot broader. I know news of the day is the Iranian deal, the JCPOA. But the point is the Department of Energy is the agency of which the verification of nuclear materials and nuclear activities around the world, whether it's North Korea, whether it's Iran, our agency is where the expertise lies. National labs obviously play a very important role with that, but also in the NNSA side of our house as well. So I'm not sure there is an agency of government with more expertise.
So my question is, why have we seen very little evidence of that expertise being engaged? Or can you give specific examples where it has been in these latest decisions?
Yes, sir, I can, but I'm not sure that some of it we can talk about in this room.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir, but I'll be more than happy to come and sit down with you in a classified environment and share with you, I think, the questions that you place forward.
Thank you. I
Yes, sir.
yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Babin, is recognized.